A Monster Jam returns to Petco Park this Saturday.
Preparations are on.
Despite a break between storms across San Diego, dangerous surf conditions continue throughout the day.
Rescue crews are asking people just to stay out of the water. Already one person has been rescued up in Encinitas. News 8's Sean Stiles is there now with how that person's doing here. Sean.
You know, Eric, it kind of amazes me that people are going out in the water after these rain events. The bacteria levels are really, really high, but the lure of going out into surf is probably a little too much for some guys and gals. What happened, though, this morning is a swimmer was out doing a leisurely morning swim. Well, as you look at the surf break here, this is Swami's, and all this water gets pushed up onto the reef, which is what creates these waves. But when that water gets pushed up onto the reef, it then drifts to the left, and as we pan to the left, all that water goes off the reef, and once it falls off the reef, it creates a strong rip current pulling out into the ocean. Now, surfers know that you can hop into that rip current and let it take you out into the ocean on your board. But if you're a swimmer, it's a different situation, and we talked to a gentleman that had to be rescued this morning.
Not so scary, it's just you have to be aware. You know, you got to like I say, swim parallel to shore.
Now, we did talk to several people up on the bluffs here this morning, and we actually talked to a woman surfer who was out there and asked the guy, "Are you okay?" And at the time, he wasn't in the rip, so he was doing okay and said, "No, I'm good." But once he had swam off the reef and started to get into the clear water swimming, well, that's when the current started to drag him out. And before he knew it, he was caught up in that rip current being sucked out to sea. Lifeguards came down, and I got to tell you, we talked to lifeguards about the conditions.
Right now, we're in the middle of the winter season, so these ocean conditions are ramped up. If you're not a good ocean swimmer and you're not used to these conditions, these are not the times to go in, especially in an area that is not guarded.
And Swami's is one of those locations that's not guarded regularly during the work week. Over the weekend, they do have guards coming up from Cardiff Reef. But I got to tell you, another building swell, a series of storms in the Pacific will continue to generate surf in the 4 to 6 foot range, and we're expecting some bigger sets rolling in throughout the day into tomorrow. The guiding line here, though, is there's so much runoff coming into the water. The bacteria levels are still elevated. You might think that, well, it's been flushed out. That's not the case. People walk their dogs every day, if you know what I mean.